Hey, Fred Wellman, on Democ's FP Wellman. Maybe a lot of you probably didn't see that Vice President Harris and Governor Walz did a Zoom or show with their supporters and followers. Um, Here's just a very short clip that pertains to what we're going to talk about for the rest of the show. Here's Vice President Harris talking to her supporters just this week.
Don't you ever let anybody take your power from you. You have the same power that you did before November 5th. And you have the same purpose that you did. And you have the same ability to engage and inspire. So don't ever let anybody or any circumstance take your power from you.
You still have power, was her message. And while a lot of people are despairing right now, and I certainly hear it, I'm not going to lie to you and say I'm immune to it myself. A lot of people are despairing and lost. They're despairing the idea of Donald Trump as president again, that there's some really bad things coming. And it's been a tough month. But what Vice President Harris says there is very key. We still have power. And if you follow me, I've been talking about that a lot. So we're going to talk about a little bit about that. How do we use our power this holiday weekend? How do we find our footing in this new environment? What we can do? And then we're going to talk to a guy who has always found his footing, from veterans to entrepreneurship to business to healthcare. And so it's a great person to talk to about what I'm trying to tell you. So I want just to have that positive discussion about what we can do and where we can go to keep our heads above the cesspool and make a better America, no matter what happens in the coming months, because we're going to have to keep fighting. And I'm sorry to ask you to do that, but let's find out ways we can do that. So let's get that conversation going. I am Fred Wellman. I'm the host of On Democracy FP Wellman. That's where you are. If you find us in the MeidasTouch Network or On Democracy Podcast Network, wherever you find us, we're thrilled to have you here. Let's get on with the show. All right, welcome back. I am still Fred Wellman, host of On Democracy FP Wellman, right here on your favorite YouTube channel, wherever you find us. This is going to be an interesting show. It's the holiday weekend. I hope a lot of you tune in. If you don't, I understand. It doesn't hurt my feelings. I'd still love you to tune in nonetheless. You know, I love having people I consider friends join us. And this week I've got both a friend joining us and a speaker of truth. But it's also Thanksgiving weekend. And a lot of people have been rightfully turned off by the news. I just saw a study saying that 47% is the amount of ratings. MSNBC's ratings have gone down. 47%. Their viewership. That's a shocking number. I saw a story in the Washington Post. People talk about how they're not even watching the news. They turn their news alerts off. I've even seen some of you wonderful folks who follow me on Blue Sky say, Fred, I love you. I can't watch the news right now. I get it. So I'm not going to do a lot of news. Once again, with 2 weeks in a row, no clips of Donald Trump. And even this week, no clips of Sean Hannity or anybody else. You know, but so many people have been overwhelming me saying, Fred, you know, what can I do? What can I do? And, you know, Blue Sky's funny. I love it already. But I also have people going, oh, you big accounts, all you do is talk and you don't tell us what to do. And so last night at 10:15 when I couldn't sleep, as my beautiful fiance was quite well asleep and I wasn't, I picked up my phone and tried to consolidate some of the things I think you should do and can do. So I thought I'd bring them to the show today and just kind of highlight some of the things I think we can do, and that you don't, as the vice president said at the top of the show, you do have power. And it's so much more important now than even it was a month ago, because look, Donald Trump is not a dictator. I know we all want to believe that. There's a lot of people saying, oh, we're never going to have elections again. I don't believe that, because Orban has elections. All he fixes them, he tries to manipulate it. We're a better country than that. Hell, even Russia technically has elections. We're not stopping that. And it starts at the local level, and it starts at the state level. And you've seen the graphic. I won't show it up. We could probably show it up again. Actually, we could probably throw the graphic up briefly, Matt. This graphic right here, which I found out is already out of date, because apparently Alabama passed an initiative, and now Alabama is going to have off-year elections for city offices in 2025. So actually, I have to say 31 states are having local and state elections. They start in February, folks. Oklahoma has their primaries for their local elections and school boards this February, along with, I think, Illinois and Wisconsin, I believe. So there is a new election in 2025, not 2026, 2025. I think you should join a special issue group. You know, protect civil rights, protect abortion rights, a gun safety group like Brady or Everytown. They need you. Moms Demand Action's a wonderful group specifically tailored for men and women, especially women who are looking for change at the grassroots level in gun safety and gun laws. Of course, veterans group. I'm a veteran. There's many veterans groups. We'll talk about some with our friend Patrick later who you don't have to be a veteran to join them. They just want you to support them. Immigrant rights are going to matter more than ever. If you're passionate about, if you live in one of these states like Texas that's going to have some really draconian things happen, people are going to need you, who are going to need you to step up and volunteer. And I'm not even talking money. They're going to need people to go and protest or go and support people who have been displaced possibly. There's going to be a lot of civic action groups that are going to need your support, and you need to do that. Join a local civic group. Your local Democratic club. I have not been to speak to a Democratic club. I'm speaking in Salt Lake on December 10th. I've never been to a Democratic organizing group that doesn't always need volunteers and help, especially off year, because that's how we build the foundation to succeed in elections. Everything is just for elections. No, we need to support our local committees, build them out, and they need fresh leadership. And if you're wondering what you can do, you can be part of that. Get involved in your union. Is another great place. Write your senator or your member of Congress. They listen. Look, the Matt Gaetz debacle, where Gaetz pulled out of the running, was because enough Republican senators knew the heat was too much, that he was too outrageous, that he wasn't going to pass. So we still have power, even with Donald Trump and the threats they're giving us about tearing down our democracy. Obviously, public pressure matters. And so write that congressman, write that senator, make them do the right, write a letter to the editor, write an op-ed. Public pressure still works. Supports these alternative media groups like mine, like MeidasTouch, like the On Democracy channel, many more. They need your support. Our Substack has put our Substack title up here, FP Wellman Substack. Folks, we have almost doubled our Substack in the last 3 weeks, if you believe that. Almost doubled. So there's a lot of room for independent media. My friend Jess Piper has an incredibly great Substack. My friend Michelle Hornish has a great Substack. Those are great independent voices that are giving you things to do and work to do, and they matter. Do those. And of course, don't give in to despair and surrender. Demand answers from our side. If we throw our arms up and say it's unwinnable, we lose, we are obeying in advance. We're surrendering without a fight. I don't want to hear it. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I've been rude to people who come on my Blue Sky or my Twitter and say, Fred, you're full of shit. You're just a big account. You don't know nothing. Folks, if you follow me, I know something, okay? You know that I've been threatened by these guys. You know that I'm being sued by Mike Flynn for a tweet, which is still languishing in federal court. It has not been dismissed yet, okay? I am sure, I'm positive, I know the stakes. Personally, okay? And so please don't accuse me of not, of being out of touch. But if I can do it, if I cannot give in to surrender, if I cannot give in to despair, and I'm demanding answers accountability from our side too, then we can do this. And we do it by not being silent. And finally, I'll say this, 2 things that matter. 1, form coalitions. It's going to take teams. Maybe you don't normally work at the political level with a certain group, or you don't work with a certain allied group because they have a different policy prescription for the same thing. Maybe they are okay with automatic weapons, but you're not. I don't know. We're going to have to put some of those differences aside, folks. We're going to have to work together. We're going to form coalitions because protecting our democracy is more important than our petty differences. Okay? Put aside your petty differences on our side of the political spectrum and work together, because big bad things are going to happen if they use us and divide us. And finally, yes, your vote still matters. And that's what I talk about at the top there. 31 states having local elections and state elections. If we can win Virginia with probably Abigail Spanberger's going to be the nominee, win New Jersey, my friend Mikey Sherrill's running against another veteran, as a matter of fact. If we can win those, if we can win there, then we send a message that Donald Trump is not all powerful, that we are going to turn this around, and we starts with us. So talk about starting with us. Starting with us is people like my friend Patrick J. Murphy. It's people who are stepping up. So I would love to get him. So let's take a break for our sponsors, and then we'll come back and we're going to talk to my friend Patrick Murphy about how he's still involved. And this is a guy who was going on Fox News fighting for us, and he's still in the fight. With that, let's take a break and we'll be right back.
Lume is the world's first handheld metabolic coach. It's a device that measures your metabolism through your breath. And on the app, It lets you know if you're burning fat or carbs and gives you tailored guides to improve your nutrition, workout, sleep, and even your stress management. Not that I have stress in my life. Now, all you have to do is breathe in your lumen first thing in the morning. You'll know what's going on with your metabolism, whether you're burning mostly fats or carbs. Then Lumen gives you a personalized nutrition plan for that day based on your measurements. You can also breathe in before you go on your workouts, before you go for a meal. You know exactly what's going on in your body in real time, and Lumen will give you tips to keep you on top of your health game. So look, your metabolism is your body's engine. We all know this. You probably learned this in health class, right? It's how your body turns the food you eat into the fuel that keeps you going. I've been tracking macros and nutrients and nutrition for years as I try to maintain my health as I age. Because your metabolism is the center of everything your body does, optimal metabolic health translates to a bunch of benefits, including easier weight management, improved energy levels, better fitness results, better sleep, better moods even, if you will. Lumen gives you recommendations to improve your metabolic health right in your hand. So if you want to take the next step in improving your health, go to lumen.me/Fred. You'll get 15% off your Lumen. That is lumen.me/Fred for 15% off your purchase. Thank you, Lumen, for sponsoring our show this week. We really appreciate you. And man, it's a great device. So every week I show up at the studio and I tell Matt, the producer, which you haven't seen yet, I'm not ready. It's almost become a tradition. And we've been doing this a couple, 3 years now. And every week Matt assures me I'm ready. And we pull a show off. And I may or may not be, but we've managed to do it. But without this routine, I think it's almost become a good luck charm that Matt keeps me sane as I come in here stressed. And well, you know what? My heart kind of skips a beat sometimes when that camera goes on. And even when some of these amazing guests show up and I've been a fan of them and I have to act like I'm not. And I tell you, it's easy for taking granted that, you know, the people who thrive and help you thrive in life, especially when it comes to matters of the heart, like your actual heart. The makers of SuperBeets Heart Chews believe the cardiovascular system is the force that unlocks the best parts of your life. And of course, the heart's at the center of it. You know, paired with a healthy lifestyle, the antioxidants in SuperBeets are clinically shown to be nearly 2 times more effective at promoting normal blood pressure than just a healthy lifestyle alone. I love the fact that it's so easy to incorporate them into my day. And frankly, they taste good. It's just a chew. You know, I grab one in the morning as I'm heading out, just chew it, eat the whole thing. And it really has made a difference in my energy levels and my cardiovascular health because it matters because it connects to my heart. My heart connects to everything, right? It's trusted by cardiologists and real people I've known. It's considered the #1 doctor, pharmacist, and cardiologist recommended beet brand for cardiovascular health support. And I like the fact that it's healthy energy without any kind of a crash at all. So the clinically studied ingredients, I mean, you could go on and on of all the good things about SuperBeets. So power the moments your heart beats for with SuperBeets Heart Chews. So get 15% off and save even more on bundles using code FRED at getsuperbeets.com. Again, that's getsuperbeets.com, code FRED. And as of course, as I've saying all throughout the show, it is the holiday weekend. But the other holiday we've forgotten with the election, I don't know if you guys heard there was this election, but after the election, things got a little nutty after the election, and it was Veterans Day on November 11th. It's Veterans Month. And so as I was talking about in the intro here about ways you can get involved beyond just even partisan politics, but against the issues we face. And there are issues we face. I mentioned at the opening of last week that Vivek Ramaswamy is out there literally floating the idea that it would save a ton of money if we just got rid of the Department of Veterans Affairs. I mean, obviously, right? The second largest cabinet position, but that affects 10 million veterans. So when I tell you get involved, there's organizations like Veterans are going to need help. So I have the perfect guest, as always, because not only is he a hardcore partisan fighter for the good side of things, he's been going on Fox News, first congressman for the post 9/11 generation. So Patrick Murphy of Pennsylvania, like I said, post 9/11 veteran to go to serve in Congress, representing Pennsylvania in Congress, then on to become the 32nd Under Secretary of the Army and is a leader to this day in veteran entrepreneurship, healthcare advocacy. You do it all, brother. Welcome to the show, Patrick Murphy. By the way, 3-time guest. That's there's 2 now. Welcome. It's good to see you, brother. Thanks for joining us.
Great to be with you, man. I love you and I love the team there and whatever I do to support you. But it's great to be back on, and I want to wish you and your family happy holidays. We go, obviously in the Christmas season after Thanksgiving.
I hope you had some good turkey and you're well rested. So we had a good one, just the 4 of us here at home, and Christmas should be crazy. But look, I want to talk to you because we were talking. I was talking to your colleagues about some of the insanity going on. Obviously, the idea of closing the VA is crazy, but I've been telling our fans and people who follow me on Blue Sky and Twitter, you can get involved, and you are the epitome of that, of getting involved. And it is Veterans Month. I mean, one of the big things I've always watched, I love your program, is, and we'll just talk about all of them. So, Face the Fight, and that's one that fights for our healthcare, right? The mental health of veterans. Tell us a little bit about Face the Fight, how you're involved, and what that's all about.
Sure. Listen, the bottom line is that, when I say how, and this, Fred, I lost 19 men in our unit in Iraq in the 82nd Airborne Division, our 2nd Brigade combat team. But one of those 19 actually took his own life over in Baghdad, right? And we have lost over 125,000 of our brother and sister veterans since 9/11, almost 10x what we lost in combat. So there's so much more that we need to do on mental health, and mental health is just as important as your physical health. But there is a stigma. You know that. I know that.
Yep.
And we got to break that stigma. So the Face the Fight initiative, and people can check it out at wefacetofight.org, is a public and private sector initiative, really in the private sector, though, of making sure private industry stands up to say, we can make a difference. We don't need to lose as many of our brothers and sisters. It's led by Reach Resilience, USAA, Humana, and 200 partners across the country. Wow. We raised already over $80 million, but just trying to break that stigma and letting people know there's ways to help. And if you're part of the solution, you want to be part of the solution, you go to wefacetofight.org, and you can learn about best practices when you want to do interventions, where you can get treatment. And we're partnering with others. We're not trying to recreate a wheel. We're trying to say there's a lot more that we need to do, and it's private sector led. So join our team and be part of it.
And that's so key. I mean, and that's what we talk about, the political side affecting the personal side, the politics we just gone through, what we face in the future. The holidays are a tough time anyway, right? But a lot of people are very despondent right now, civilians and military. And this is a tough time of year. And we have to have honest conversations about mental health, don't we? And obviously our community, we struggle with that conversation more than anybody, don't we?
That's right. And there's different things that you could do. Obviously 988 if you're really, hurting and in trouble. But, what I try to encourage people to do is make sure you go to counseling. It should be one of those things where it's natural. You go in once a month or at least once a quarter just to get, because when you do need counseling, you don't want to wait till you really, really need it. You want to be able to go in there and say, hey, this is who I am. This is what I'm working on. This is some of the challenges I face, because your mental health, it is actually also tied though to your mental health. And that, as you know, Fred, when we left, after, both you and I served multiple deployments, when I came back after my second one, went back home to Pennsylvania, I didn't have a tribe back there, right? I didn't have a point of contact at the VA because I'm not service, connected, disabled or anything. So, you need to make sure that as a veteran, you're still, living a purpose-driven life. You're still working out, and whether it's yoga or CrossFit or Crunch Gym or Peloton, whatever it is, right?
Yep.
Just get out there, because the more, you work out, you get the dopamine, and also, it does help your mental health. And then especially if you could join, a team or a tribe that it's different than your 9 to 5 and you're trying to live with a purpose. You're trying to make yourself better every day.
Some of these groups are civilian and military. I know you guys have Team Red, White, and Blue in the coalition. I'm a big Team RWB fan. Team Rubicon, which is a disaster relief organization, but also for helping our veterans find purpose in their lives. But both the organizations we mentioned on the top of our head there are civilian and military. Team Red, White, and Blue has chapters around the country. I started the one in Fredericksburg, or helped start the one in Fredericksburg, Virginia. Our civilian viewers of the show can say, hey, how do I get? Hey, go run with the veterans, local veterans. Team RWB is very athletic focused, but there's a lot of groups. If you go there, you'll find there's places where even you as a civilian can participate, right? It's not closed to just our community, because one of the things I constantly say, and by the way, it's a theme of this show, is it's going to take allies, right? All the things we have to fight in the next 4 years, it's not just for our transgender family, it's not just our veterans family, it's not our Black family, it's all of us as allies fighting together. Otherwise, no one's going to win, right? And that's same thing for our veterans and our veterans' health, isn't it? We can't help. We need help.
That's
right?
why. Yep. And that's why I tell people, we may have asked less than 1% of our country to serve in the longest wars in American history, like you and I did, but we need 99%. This isn't a whole of government approach. We need a whole of nation approach.
Yeah.
Make sure we're helping veteran suicide, but also making sure that people understand there is a lot we could do out there. There's a lot of challenges that America faces, but even in our preamble of our Constitution, that Constitution that you and I both took an oath to support, defend against all enemies, foreign, domestic, that preamble said, in order to form a more perfect union. We're not perfect. We weren't perfect 200 some years ago. We're not perfect now. but it's our constitutional duty as Americans, as a citizen of this great country, that we're not perfect, but we have to make it better every day. And that's, like you said, join up with allies, do what you can to make a difference for brothers, sisters, veterans, for your community, for folks that you interact with, and what you're passionate about.
Yeah, and there are opportunities, right? There are a lot of opportunities, and they're not hard. You know, I think I did a list that I listed before you joined us, and I saw in Blue Sky right before I came on the show. Someone was like, "Okay, this is great, but what about introverts?" And I'm like, "All right, look, I'll do that next." There's plenty of places introverts can participate too, I assure you. But you know, we can do them all. Now, that's not all the things. Like again, the reason I love you, brother, is because I've never met. So funny, you don't follow Patrick Murphy. He never stops. Okay, okay, he's never stopping, never stops. You know, he's truly the Alexander Hamilton of our time. You're also now you've got a new show, right? You got your own show. You got a new podcast out called Warrior Money, right? So, all right, man. So, tell me about Warrior Money with Dan Coons, who I know. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing and the why. I mean, the why of it. Let's circle back to the why of it too. Go ahead.
Yeah. Listen, I linked up with the Yahoo Finance people. You know, I teach at Wharton Business School. Which by the way,
you're such an underachiever. I wish.
Well, target, right? I know that you know the advice that Alexander Hamilton. I smile more. So you have me talking, but you know the reality of it is, you know, the Yahoo Finance they want to really help out veterans and they want to educate veterans, and so they said, Patrick, can we partner with you on doing a podcast? So it's me and my business partner Dan Coons, an Army veteran. Yeah, you know, a great American, and we're trying to amplify not just veteran voices, but to really lay it out for folks on what they need to do to succeed. Transitioning veterans are a certain passion of mine through Chamber of Commerce, Hiring Heroes, et cetera. But every year we have about 200,000 veterans who transition from active service to become veterans, and military spouses as well. And right now with military spouses, Fred, it's about 24% unemployment.
Still,
that's why when most Americans, you know, are dual income families, our military families are hurting. So, you know, we're passionate about that, but we launched this Warrior Money podcast. It comes out every Friday. We had Admiral McCraven as our first guest, as you know, Navy SEAL, did the Bin Laden raid, did the Somalia raid, you know, against when he captured a captain. Like, he's just a phenomenal American. You know, wrote the New York Times bestseller book, Make Your Bed. His commencement address is one of the most popular commencement addresses at UT that, you know, in American history. And, you know, to have, you know, someone like of his caliber. And then we had one of the first ever women armor officers in. She was a Cornell ROTC grad. Yeah. She then went to Harvard Business School. She's talking about, you know, women in combat and how important that is, that, you know, you can't shun half the American population when we need, in the Army's case, about 120,000 young Americans to join our ranks every year. And you know, we just get this incredible chance to amplify the voices of our generation of post-9/11 veterans and those who are making a difference, and imparting on veterans and military families what you need to do to balance your budget, to make your money work for you, to things like your network is your net worth. Don't wait till you transition to hop on LinkedIn. You should be working at, you know, throughout your career in the military and beyond.
It's all good advice, and to get it in one place, and of course a quality place with guests like, you know, William McRaven. I mean, there's no slouches. Obviously, you got a great network, one of the greatest networks in our industry, you know, and it matters. And then these are lessons for everybody too. I mean, let's be very honest. Once again, circling back to the same comment, the lessons for veterans. You know, one of the things you and I have had this conversation. I mean, for those who don't know, Patrick and I have been hanging out. How long have we been hanging out, dude? At least a decade or more, right? I mean, I remember meeting you up at 30 Rock when you had your show on MSNBC. And one of the things we always say amongst us is, one, veterans, although we are small, there's about 15 million of us living, right? We are a microcosm of America. The all-volunteer military is made up of you. It's simply a microcosm of who you are. So while we are unique in our experience, we're not unique in our Americanness. And two, when you've met one veteran, you've met one veteran. Experiences may vary, and the lessons we learn as veterans apply directly to our friends in the civilian population and to others who are working in similar circumstances. Perhaps they work far from home. So I do think, while we do veterans, I think even our civilian friends who watch the show, you'll find value in these conversations because you'll see your own life in these experiences. Believe it or not, it's not unique to us, right?
That's so true, Fred. And that's why, you know, 3 quick points. One, you know, of our generation of post 9/11 veterans, you know, we're 44% people of color. So we're actually more diverse, right? Right. Number two, I take it very personal when people try to victimize my brothers and sister veterans. Yes, we live by the ethic. We leave no one behind. That's why we do Face the Fight. That's why we're doing all this other stuff. But we want to highlight the fact that our brothers and sister veterans are civic assets. They are more likely to vote in elections, no matter what their political persuasion. In fact, veterans are more likely to be independents. They're more likely to have a job. They're more likely to start a small business and for that small business to be successful. And you look at some of the most iconic global brands, Fred, like when people are going Christmas shopping or holiday shopping, whatever you want to say, I can say Christmas, I'm Catholic, but like when you go shopping, if you want a new pair of Nike, well, Phil Knight was an Army officer, right? Yeah. His track coach at the University of Oregon was Bill Bowerman, served in the 10th Mountain Division, earned a Silver Star.
Yeah.
You go to Walmart, Sam Walton, Army veteran. Yeah. You go to Ralph Lauren Polo, he was an Army veteran, right? And so, and if you order and you get it via FedEx, Fred Smith, who started FedEx, was a Marine, Vietnam vet.
Yep.
So, to me, it's, we got to highlight some of the fact that, yes, no one left behind, but we're veterans and we are civic assets to this nation and we continue to serve. And that's why, if I could just divert real quick on my third point, that's why, I really want more veterans to get involved in the political process. Yeah. And, I mentor, I was the OG, first Iraq vet, led to Congress, 2 terms out of Bucks County, Pennsylvania. But, I'm trying to get more veterans, through, because it used to be 4 out of every 5 veterans, and 4 every 5 members of Congress were veterans. Now it's less than 1 out of every 5.
Yeah.
But we have some phenomenal leaders, people like Mikey Sherrill from New Jersey, Pat Ryan from New York, just like all across the board, these great young Americans. But in Pennsylvania, my home state, and again, even my home state, we have Chris DeLuzio out of Pittsburgh, et cetera, Navy vet. But
Chrissy Houlihan.
There's about 1.2 million independents in Pennsylvania, and there's 800,000 veterans in Pennsylvania, over 12 million. Do you know that they can't vote if you're a registered independent? And that's what most veterans are, registered independent. In Pennsylvania, you can't vote in primary elections. So that's why I'm part of this ballot PA initiative. Was just with our former governor, Tom Corbett, who's an Army veteran, saying, hey, if you are an independent in the primary elections, you should be able to vote for a Democrat or Republican in the election. Now, if you're a Democrat, you shouldn't be able to vote for a Republican or vice versa. But if you're independent, you're a taxpayer, you should be able to vote in elections. And for my third point, I don't like the fact that my fellow brothers and sister veterans are disenfranchised.
Yeah.
What do I mean by that? Most veterans are registered independent. They're not Democrat or Republican, right? And that's kind of, we're a non-political organization. That's kind of, when I joined at 19, that's what basically the captain told me, like, hey, my advice to y'all, you can do what you want, but I would say, he said I would register independent.
Yep.
And in states like Pennsylvania, veterans and independents can't vote in primary elections if they're registered independent. And so I'm part of this ballot PA initiative with great Americans like Rocky Blyer, who was a Vietnam vet, played for the Pittsburgh Steelers, former Governor Tom Corbett, former Governor Ed Rendell, both of them are Army veterans. And it's allowing, whether if you're registered independent, that you can vote in primary elections, whether it's a Democrat or a Republican you want to vote for. Now, because it's, open them up for under this what's called this ballot PA initiative.
Yeah.
Why it's important is if you're Democrat, you shouldn't be able to vote in a Republican primary or vice versa. But if you're independent and a taxpayer, you absolutely positively should be able to vote in primary elections and to open up the democratic process and not disenfranchise our veterans and independents.
Yep, and again, going back to the whole thing, it's yet another place where people can find a difference. These are the conversations we need to have as we prepare for elections. Pennsylvania has a Supreme Court election this year in 2025. This matters, right? And it is partisan, and so we're going to have these conversations because a lot of people are doom and glooming right now. That's the end of democracy. There's no more elections. No, I don't believe that. Elections are going to happen. And they matter at the local level more than ever do they matter at the local level, right? So I've been urging our followers and our fans and listeners to find a place you can get involved. It's 31 states having elections. I found out that Alabama passed an initiative to move their local elections to off years. So now Alabama has elections this year. So 31, so there's really a lot of places where average Americans get involved, can't they?
No doubt. And I also tell people, I'm an American first, right? I always put, I try to do what's best for our country to make it a more perfect union. But I am partisan, though, Fred, on one thing. Yeah. And I know you want to be positive and Christmas spirit and all that stuff. But in 2 weeks, In 2 weeks, we have the Army Navy game, and I am very partisan. Go Army, and we're hosting our third ever Army Navy policy conference. So
Okay.
the Army Navy game is in DC this year. It is on Saturday, December 14th. But the day before, on Friday the 13th, we were actually from 12:30 in the afternoon to 5:30. We're hosting what's called the Army Navy Policy Conference, the Warrior Class Conference. And here we have great leaders in the industry and political public service, and a lot of veterans and entrepreneurs who are talking about their shared experience and talking about, you know, what they're doing to move the ball forward for our country, for our nation, and for our military. And I'll have some Navy guys and gals
Unfortunately,
as part of the, you know, speaking panels. It hurts my heart a little bit.
I know,
I'm
man.
trying to be bipartisan, but on that Saturday next day, definitely go Army, beat Navy.
I think that's a great place to finish. Couldn't agree more. I'll try and make my way up there. I've missed the game a couple years now, but I think I was in the snow just a few years ago. I hung out with you first and then stood in the snow. So it'll be good to see us win again. The team's doing great this year, up until that whole Notre Dame debacle. But nonetheless, we're kicking butt this time, so I appreciate it. Patrick, I appreciate your time. I appreciate all the work. And this is the perfect conversation to have. I just want folks to know there's so much we can do. And you exemplify that so well, that you don't have to throw, I don't see you throwing your hands in despair. You were hardcore. You were on Fox News fighting for Kamala, fighting for the truth about the Democratic Party. The election didn't go our way. And like you and I, we mourned, but we dust ourselves off because that's what soldiers do, right? And you get back in the fight. And you exemplify that in everything you do, Patrick. So I really appreciate your time. I know you're a busy man.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it, brother. Listen, the folks can follow me on @PatrickMurphyPA, you know, on Insta and Facebook, Twitter, X, all that stuff. But I will say, Fred, thank you, because, you know, it's important for us to communicate. It's important for us to reach out to our brothers and sisters who are out there that feel, you know, hurt by what happened on November 5th, that feel like, oh man, this isn't the America that I fought for, or that I believe in. But listen, it's always darkest before dawn. We got to keep fighting. We got to keep making improvements in our community and for our country. And things will get better. But they're only going to get better if we rise up and be patriots and do what's necessary to put our country back on the right track. So God bless you, Fred. Thanks for having me.
Brother.
Have a great holiday. And hopefully I'll see you at the Army Navy Policy Conference on Friday the 13th.
All right, I'll do my best.
At Georgetown Business School.
All right, brother. Good seeing you, man. Cheers.
Airborne.
What a great conversation. Caught Patrick at the bookstore. And he really, I mean, have you ever met somebody that exemplifies what I'm saying to you? And you're sick of me saying is there's places for you to go. There's things you can do that go beyond even the partisanship. We're going to have to fight back against this changing to our society. That's what they want. We know that. Project 2025 isn't just about power. It's also about a Christian nationalist vision for our country. They're going to come after our allies. They're going to come after our friends, and eventually they're going to come after you. I've seen so many people saying on Blue Sky how, well, you know what, MAGA needs to suffer for the consequences. That's great, except I'm not going to stand by and let my daughters, my sons, my grandchildren, my friends who are black, my friends who are gay, my friends who are transgender suffer because someone else voted for Donald Trump. I just can't do it, you guys. Maybe it's just maybe it's the DNA. My father was a New Englander. He didn't raise me that way. Maybe it's because I spent 26 years of my life in the Army in uniform in some way. I don't know, but I'm sorry. I'm not going to just throw my hands up and say, well, here comes your consequences. And when it also is going to be consequences for people I love, to include me. So you're never going to hear that from me. And if it bothers you, don't follow me. I'm sorry. But if it doesn't, we're in the right place, because in this place, we talk about what we can do to make a better America, be it partisanship, be it nonpartisan, by helping on issues like abortion or like I said, our veterans, like we talked about with Patrick, because obviously that's close to my heart as a veteran, whatever it may be. More of what Patrick was talking about to me matters is look at all the places this man has found to make a difference in his community, whatever that community be it Pennsylvania, be it the business community, be it the veteran community. That's what I'm watching to you do. Don't just despair. Get in the fight. So, as always, you know where we are, right here on the MeidasTouch Network. And of course, I would love you, if you're watching the show, go on over to YouTube. On Democracy Podcast on YouTube is our channel there. Subscribe that. We're growing, those numbers are going up. We're doing some new stuff. I got some exciting new things coming that I can't announce yet. And I've been saying it for a while, but now they're coming, and you're going to love it. I can't wait to show you what we're doing next. I'm on Blue Sky, folks, and I got to tell you, I'm on Blue Sky most of the time now. My following there has grown dramatically. I can't thank you enough, those who are following me. I'm so humbled to be, I think, number 74 on the whole platform, which is mind-boggling to me because I'm just some dude who falls downstairs. But those of you who are following me, I appreciate you. Those who aren't, I'd love you to find me there. It's fpwellman.bluesky.app, whatever. We'll throw it up on screen. But it is FP Wellman. Just search FP Wellman. You'll find me. I'm the only FP Wellman on there. fpwellman.bluesky. Please come on over and follow me there. I'm still holding on to my name on Twitter just because that's my name and I have to hold on to it. But I spend most of my time on Blue Sky these days, and I'd love you to join us there. With that, it's been a great holiday weekend. I hope you're having a good one. I'm having a great one. It's been relaxing to have our son home from college, go see my grandkids. I hope you're enjoying your holiday weekend as well, and you catch a show. In the meantime, we got a lot to do. Have faith, hold together, hold the line. We can make it together. I'm Fred Wellman. This is On Democracy with FP Wellman. We'll see you again next week.